Anne Frank has a great quote in one of her diary pages where she says, "Pages are more patient than people." Completely true. You can write about whatever you want in whatever depth and length that you want without feeling like you need to captivate the audience. Write just whatever you're feeling at that moment. Now, anytime you're feeling slightly out of baseline, that's a good time to maybe check in and say, okay, why am I feeling this emotion? And maybe even if it's excitement, what is causing this feeling that's pushing me out of the norm of where I normally am? And that's a good time to check in with what you're feeling, why you're feeling, and how you can deal with that emotion. So anytime you're out of baseline, just bring your journal with you wherever you go and writing about what you're feeling at that time. Sometimes maybe I'll have a job the next day or an appointment with someone that I feel anxious and nervous about, and then I can just, instead of feeling nasty and terrible the whole day, the second I start to write about it, okay, why am I feeling anxious? What specific thing am I worried about happening? Once I write it down and see what it is, I'm like, oh, that's not such a big deal. If that were to happen, that's not the worst thing in the world. So actually writing out each of my anxieties and what specifically I'm worried about happening in the future or the next day is a great way to alleviate myself of any bad feelings that I have at that moment. Just chasing questions is often the best way to go about figuring out why you're feeling a certain thing. And so figuring out the best questions and saying, okay, what am I avoiding? And then why, and continue finding the right questions. What would be the best way for me to accomplish what I want and remove this feeling? Just finding the right questions for the moment are key. Last thing is, there are tons of studies that show that one of the most effective ways to get over past traumas, anything really bad that happened to you in the past, is if you write about it in detail. It's almost like you relive it, but you're writing it in a calm manner. So it even more so than just thinking about it in your head. When you write it out, it almost separates it from you, and you get to relive it in a comfortable fashion. There's tons of studies that show that one of the most effective ways to get over any past traumas that have been holding you back are reliving them and writing them out in detail, and then you can move on from them. So those are a few ways that we can go about processing emotions within our journals.